Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Aftermath News. And this one right here, I've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen, ever since the DMs got leaked a while back by Emiru. Accidental, I might add. I knew something was up with this relationship, and well, I was right. And it seems that as time goes on, this guy just gets to be worse and worse, to the point where he will go any extreme to try and silence them, even taking them to court, even though, quite frankly, there's no evidence. But hey, if he wants to waste his money and time and potentially owe a bunch of money for them, well then so be it, be my guest. But what am I talking about exactly? Well, you see, Emiru a couple days ago, or I should say weeks ago, exposed Mizkif on a stream and proved to everyone, yeah, he's a piece of shit, a terrible boyfriend, who really has no regard for anyone except for himself. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, I should say here, because let's start from the top. This starts with TwitchCon, and you know, what a surprise. It always starts with Twitch, right? The conventions are disgusting, and the people who run the platform are also disgusting, but that's a different story. You see, Emiru had concerns about safety before going to the event. Heck, a lot of streamers had concerns attending the event, because, you know, a lot of time has passed, and since then, there's been crazy interactions with fans, and people just being completely unhinged, and they were concerned for their safety. And as usual, Twitch ignored, and guess what? A fan stormed Emiru's little event. Now, luckily, security was there to protect her. More so, her personal security took care of the matter. And as for Twitch, well, something interesting happened after. You see, Emiru is pressing charges on the guy, and normally it would be a little bit faster if Twitch was cooperating. Yes, that's right, Twitch is unwilling to cooperate with the investigation because they don't want to be sued by the guy. They don't want to give out his personal info, and so the police put out a warrant or something, just because Twitch cares more about their image and their money and time than really the safety. Here's what I mean. I'll let Emiru explain.
So, I want to say that last week, everything I said on my stream was accurate, obviously, except for one thing. I was wrong about one thing. I was going over the tweet that Twitch initially put out, where they're like, oh yeah, this thing happened to a high-profile creator, you know, police were on site, we're cooperating with law enforcement investigations. What I was wrong about was, they were not cooperating with law enforcement investigations. I found that out on Monday when I got a phone call from the San Diego police, and they were talking to me, and they basically said, hey, we can't really do anything right now because they apparently know the name of the guy, but they're not giving it to us until a warrant goes through. And they're like, yeah, they're refusing to give us the name, which, as far as I'm aware, is like a very common company thing, where they'll be, you know, they don't want to give out names of potential people involved in crimes, because then, like, that person could maybe, like, sue them for giving their name to police. I don't know, something like that. That's what my lawyer said.
Now, here's the real kicker. They put out a tweet apologizing to Emiru, talking about the whole situation, but nobody reached out to Emiru. So not only are they terrible in helping the investigation, which was also a lie in one of their tweets talking about it, but also they didn't even talk to Emiru properly. A complete disaster and a disgrace from Twitch. But hey, are we really surprised though? Twitch never cares about its people unless money is involved, or unless the backlash is really terrible. So yeah, not surprised there.
I did see the Twitch tweet that I believe went out yesterday. I was literally in a Discord call with my friends, and they were like, did you see that Twitch apologized to you? And I was like, wait, what? So, yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is, they put out that tweet. I was never apologized to privately. They put that out without, like, consulting me or anything. I didn't know that they were gonna do that, so that was, yeah.
Now, what does this have to do with Mizkif? Well, you see, Mizkif decided to approach someone from Emiru's team, I believe it was security, saying that if Emiru were to ever try and say something about Mizkif, like expose or say something slanderous, he will do the same plus worse, which, I mean, I think that's disgusting because in the next stream, or in the stream that I showed you, that's what Emiru did exactly. She exposed how much of a sack of shit this guy is. Roll the clips, ladies and gentlemen. It's about to get fun.
The first time that we ever streamed at the same time was for the 2024 Rust Kingdoms event on Twitch. We were sharing drops, so it was the first time in a very long time that we were both going to be live at the same time doing the same thing. We're both streaming the Rust event, and I thought it was going really well. I thought everyone was having fun. I was like, oh, this is great. Everyone's, doing the same thing at the same time. We're all hanging out, we're gonna have fun. Like, I was really, really excited. And then I start seeing in my chat people start saying unofficial Miz raid, and I'm like, what does that mean? And then I check my Discord messages, and he's messaging me. He's saying, like, Emmy, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna KMS. I waited so long for this, etc. Basically he was upset because I had higher viewership than him. I tried to tell him, I was like, bro, you should come back and play. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's like wondering where you are. But yeah, he ended his stream. And then I'm still live, trying to act like nothing's wrong. And in that house, I had a glass door so I could like see this was happening. He was walking behind me, making sure that I knew he was there. And by the way, so there were many ways out of that house if he wanted to leave the house that were closer to his stream room. He intentionally chose the door that was right by my room. He starts walking behind my stream and slamming the door so loud that my noise gate can pick it up. So even people on my stream are able to hear this is happening. And he slams it so hard and so many times that the front door literally broke. The lock did not work anymore. It didn't work for months, and it would just make this horrible sound that I would have to hear like every fucking day. But anyway, so I hear him back there doing this, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I tell my stream, I'm like, hey, guys, I'll be right back. I get up and I go talk to him, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, Emmy, like, I hate all of you guys. Like, all you guys do is just take from me, and like, I'm just done. Like, I'm just done. And I was like, is this like really happening because of rush drops? And he was like, I don't know what else to do. He was like going off on me, like basically saying that he hated me. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do now. And he was like, go finish your stream so that people don't know anything's wrong. And I stop in the bathroom outside my stream room, and I'm like, checking my makeup, trying to make sure people can't tell that I was like crying. And I'm only in there for like 30 seconds, and he comes and like looms in the doorway. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm just checking my makeup. So I go back and I stream for a couple hours, finish the stream, do my best to just like, carry on the show basically. He would destroy furniture in front of me. He would throw things in front of me and near me. Destroy walls. Again, you can go see this in some of his VODs in his bedroom, the holes in the wall. There would be times where he was upset at me, and I would go to my stream room and literally lock myself in to get away from him, and he would be banging on the door and screaming at me. And at the time, he also would more often do things like going, like if we were driving in the car together, he would be going like 150 miles an hour, and like one time he even said like, well, now we're both gonna die, like threatening to kill both of us. And this wasn't like even necessarily because of me or like because of something I did a lot of the time. Like, one of the times that it happened, it was because we were just getting food, and he was on his phone, and he saw that Mr. Beast had put out a video, and Mr. Beast had invited another streamer, and he was like, oh, Mr. Beast invited this guy to his video, not me. And I was like, oh, well, you know, like, huh, yeah, I guess so. Which led to him going 150 miles per hour in the car and talking about killing himself while doing it. Then at home, other things would happen, like I'd be trying to sleep and he would scream at me and say that it was all my fault that he felt insecure. There was a time that I walked into a room that he was in, and as soon as he saw me there, he threw his phone at the dresser and started yelling because I had posted a YouTube video within the same couple of days as him, and mine was doing better. So basically, I felt like I was kind of stuck in a loop where I felt like I had to constantly perform and like prove my value to not be thrown away. But at the same time, if I ever performed too well, I was gonna be punished for it.
Oh, that's gold. Sorry to interrupt, but are you serious? This guy was about to fucking cry and kill himself over a stupid video. Are you serious? This guy's willing to just end it all because he didn't get enough views. The thousands and millions of money this guy makes, I guess, aren't enough. Oh, you can't make this up.
I let him hold me while I was crying. And he started kissing me in my face, and I let him do it. I was still sobbing a lot. And then, suddenly, he tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hand down my pants. And, I screamed. Yeah. And when I screamed, he jumped off me like a cat, like. And instead of apologizing or checking if I was okay, he said, I feel weird now. I feel like I did something wrong. I have to go. And he immediately left my house while I was still crying without checking if I was okay or anything. And at the time, I was still making excuses for him, and I was still afraid of causing trouble for other streamers around us, or like, you know, making things weird for viewers. I know that probably sounds crazy, but like I just felt this pressure, like I had to try to keep things together, if that makes sense. I felt like I'd cause trouble for so many other people if I ever said anything bad about him, or if I caused rifts in our friend group or streamer group. I tried to stay on good terms with him and hold everything in, and also I still cared about him a lot, and I still at that point had hope that things would get better and that, you know, he would improve. I honestly don't even remember what the final straw was that I finally was like, okay, it's time to go. Like, I prepared the house that I lived in before this one, like, pretty much immediately after the, like, breaking the front door thing happened, but I was still, like, scared and unsure. I remember the day I took Cheddar to the house, because he just randomly started, like, screaming at Cheddar and was like, get that fucking cat out of my house. So I just grabbed Cheddar and put him in my car and grabbed his litter box and took him there, and I just left him there and never took him back to that house. And then I think like within several days after that was when I finally moved out. It was on very short notice. Like I said, I don't even remember what the final straw was because so many things happened, but there was a time when I just knew. I called some movers. I said, hey, can you come tomorrow? And they were like, yeah, and then I literally moved the next day. Moving out into the last house that I lived in was a huge step mentally because, like I said, a big part of why I moved into the first house in Texas in the first place was because I felt like it was the safest option for me because, you know, I am a girl where it's like kind of scary for me to be living alone. So it was very hard. And at the time, even though like all these other things had already happened, I was very hopeful that me and him could be cordial and like eventually like things would be fine, at least publicly. After I moved out, we, like I said, still kept in contact. I had hope that somehow things would get better. He would always beg for me to come back, and he would promise therapy and change and like even talk to other people and like kind of present like, oh, I want to change, I want to be better for Emmy or whatever, you know?
Are you serious? This is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, really, she is in a vulnerable state. She is crying, and the first thing you want to do is make a move like that? And what's even crazy is that in his response stream, he actually brings this up and basically goes pretty much how she said it was, except in his eyes, he thought that she wanted that. However, you know what's the one thing that was constant? Yeah, he didn't apologize. So even in his version, he still didn't apologize. Fucking idiot. Which, speaking of Mizkif's response stream, before we get into it, I should also show you some of these DMs that Emiru posted in the live stream, or showed off, I should say. And yeah, you can pause the video, read some of them. I'm not gonna read them, alright? But yeah, these also, she had these to show. Mizkif only had like one DM to show, but yeah, just keep that in mind.
Talking about the same things over and over, and no sleep and depression, that most of my hair started to fall out, and Emiru started to hurt herself while we were in Japan. As this time happened, I was a massive wreck. I couldn't think straight, and being that Emiru hung out with me all day, she too started to become high-strung. We would yell at each other, fight, and argue all the time. Things we never once did. I felt this relationship was taking a huge strain, but I thought it could be fixed over time since things were just so amazing that first year. But as we stayed around longer, I started resenting her a lot more. We broke up for about a month, then got back together because we thought we can make it work. We went to get food at BJ's, a common place where we would get food, and then we went back to her house. We cuddled for about 30 minutes and started to kiss. She said that she was okay with this on her stream, and I started to advance to the next stage because I thought that's what she wanted. She yelped, and I immediately sprung up and was scared if I did anything wrong, or did wrong in general. I got scared and left the house. I apologize if that made Emmy uncomfortable for me not saying sorry, and I wish I said sorry back then. It got so bad, but Emmy was also violent. She would throw clothes or plushies at me, and I punched holes in the walls or slammed doors in aggression. I one time did say I was going to kill myself during an argument, but Emmy did this as well numerous times. She would constantly say she's going to kill herself in arguments, and I have a picture where while I had a gun pointed at one of her stalkers who came to my house while she was in Kansas, she told me she was going to kill herself out of aggression of the situation while it was happening. This is the situation. I told her that a stalker's at the house. I'm freaking out. What is happening? Can you call me? I'll call you. I literally want to kill myself. I can't take this anymore. I feel so alone and like a problem. So just want to show this. She was also using the I want to kill myself a lot in our situation and relationship. This is while I had a gun pointed at one of her stalkers. This stalker who was at my house, his background picture was Emiru. And when he talked to the cops, he was in love with her and thought that she was talking to him.
How is that the same thing? That is completely different. Yeah, she's throwing at you like what, soft objects, while you're over here smashing fucking holes in walls and destroying property. How is that the same? And yeah, obviously, she's obviously gonna say things like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, end my whole life. Everyone does. In a relationship this toxic, it's bound to happen. So it's not a unique thing that, oh, she did it as well. Everyone does it in a relationship when it gets to this point, okay? Alright? So enough with that fucking card. Let's just get that out of the way.
Emiru has a lot of rabbits. It was her calling when she first moved in. These were a big part of her life. But as those rabbits moved out of her room and into the living room, they started to see disgusting neglect. No food, no water, sometimes not having clean bedding for weeks. I, along with many others, who would come over, would give them what they needed, and I would tell her all the time to take care of them, but to no avail. She completely neglected those rabbits, so much that many of them just died over 1 year of being around in my house. My cleaning ladies would clean them just because they felt terrible, and my brother once came over and said, and I quote, "If you ever marry this woman, I'll never forgive you." Here is a video up close of Emiru's rabbits. These are small little mites that are inside the rabbit cage, and she didn't care. She completely neglected these animals, and I'm not going to sit around and let people say that she didn't. People who came to my house knew that they were neglected. This is an up-close view of the rabbit cage being completely disgusting and neglected. She left them to die, and I'm not going to sit here and have her pretend she didn't. It's fucking disgusting. This is a video from my own brother. I didn't record this.
Spare me the alligator tears, okay? First off, he's talking about how Emiru mistreated the rabbits. If they were really mistreated, why are you now just holding on to this information and releasing it? This should have been done before. You should have called someone or really convinced her to sell them or give them to someone who will actually take care of the rabbits. Because I don't understand how someone would hold on to all this and just now release it. If he is claiming that she killed him, you are just as guilty for holding on to that information and saying nothing. So, yeah, no, let's get this out of here. He's so sly about it, too. He tries so hard to sound concerned about the rabbits. And here's the kicker, though. Rabbits don't like being in a loud environment. And, well, judging from this relationship, was definitely a loud environment. If, we got people smashing holes in the walls, slamming doors, screaming at the top of their lungs from both parties, mainly Mizkif, there's a good chance that he added to that and didn't help the situation at all. Now, as for the cages themselves, I'm not too knowledgeable on this. I've never owned rabbits myself. There's definitely a lot of people in this space that have argued about whether or not it's normal or not. If it isn't, let me know in the comment section below. But typically, from what I read, cleaning a rabbit's cage or keeping it clean is very difficult. And typically, most cleaners clean it like between 2 or once a week. So, I don't know. If anyone knows, let me know in the comment section below.
I truly hope nothing but the best for Emmy. I know she said a lot of these things today, and I do believe a lot of them were false, but I do hope nothing but the best for her, and I'm sorry that any of this happened. I hate that we're in this situation, and I hope that she can move on.
I'm just gonna stop you right there. Yeah, no, that was a complete and utter lie. You want to know a little secret, ladies and gentlemen? Well, he's taking him to court. Yes, he is suing Emiru, Asmongold, and OTK. So much for wishing her well and having her move on. Yet he decided to take them all to court for slander. Alright? Hell, he's even celebrating taking them to court with this little video, I guess you want to call it. Moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, fuck Mizkif. He's always been a terrible person. I don't care what happens after or what he does to change or better his life. I will never believe a thing this guy says, alright? This guy has not changed at all. He's an egotistical, insecure man-child, alright, who only cares about his money and wealth. And he will do anything to be at the top, even if he has to push the people around him away. Or hurt them, whichever comes first. Or maybe the same thing. I don't know. Oh, and one more thing before I leave. A lot of people came out of the woodwork after this saying that they knew how much of a terrible person Mizkif was. And that, or they didn't think it was that bad. But they had a feeling, Typical save your own ass. I am sorry for ever associating with this guy type of bullshit, alright? don't ever trust Twitch streamers. There's a lot of secrets and a lot of dirt going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. And who knows, maybe this is just the top of that little conspiracy, but only time will tell. And as for Mizkif right now, well, he's not really taking a break. He's still posting. There's a couple clips here and there of him saying that he's going to bring on the rain and expose everyone, or he doesn't care what anyone says. Yet, he's suing people for slander. Again, he does care. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to check out my other videos. And this is Esqueleto signing out.